on your hands.
Making someone pay, that's not the way to deal with
It's
it.
the only way.
Hello and welcome to the second Revenge Fans Recap for Revenge Fans Group at facebook.com/group/revengefans/ABC. And David's been urging Emily to start acting like an Amanda, acting like the girl deserving of love rather than Emily, the rival, and tells her that it's really not important to make people pay. Come on, David, I know you've been out of the loop for the last 20 years, but look who you're talking about. You're talking about Emily Thorne. She does make people pay, and she tells them straight up, hey, this is the only way. Emily expresses that she's tired of bad things happening to her friends. You have to understand that throughout her revenge, she has experienced casualties. That's one of the major downfalls of revenge. First you lose your friends, and then you lose yourself. She's tired of losing her friends, and she's tired of bad things happening to them. Well, maybe it's time to quit revenging. Meanwhile, Jack experiences a little bit of a loss of his own. His blood sample.
They lost my sample.
Of course, how convenient is that? The one thing that would exonerate him from the gate, and it's missing. Coincidence? No.
Mom?
Hi, Jack.
So Jack stands before the judge and pleads not guilty. Obviously, he doesn't believe that he did anything wrong because he didn't drink before he left the bar. The judge releases Jack and says that he has to have a social worker come and check on him and see what kind of living conditions that Carl is living under, see if they can find any proof that Jack has any kind of drinking problem. After the hearing is over, after that part of the hearing is over, Emily tries to confront Margot. James Allen gets in between them. Oh, that's enough. And Margot basically says, hey, Emily, this is your fault. You started the whole thing. You started it. So after the hearing, Stevie, Jack, and Emily and Nolan try to sit around and have like a little conference, a little powwow to try to figure out who actually started the whole thing and got Jack pulled over. Well, Emily figures that she can probably get Ben to discredit Schaefer on the stand, but Stevie thinks not, considering that Ben just... Come on now, how'd you expect him to act? I mean, they were dragging his child away, kicking and screaming. He starts crying. I mean, of course the guy's going to be belligerent, and what, Ben's not going to tell the truth about that? Stevie also kind of thinks that Officer Schaefer's a little too dumb for that anyway. So, Nolan finds footage of James Allen spiking Jack's OJ. And Emily says, oh wait, I know that guy. I saw him at court.
Right there. He was at the courthouse with Margot. And look.
My glass clearly moved. He must have still...
Now this is what I don't understand, okay? We had so many episodes with James Allen doing stuff for Margot, and they still don't know who James Allen is. They never noticed him around. They never wondered who that guy was that was spying on everybody. Come on now. I have a hard time believing that they're only now finding out who James Allen is. So, Emily sneaks into James's room and she finds a bottle of acetone. As soon as she finds out a bottle, James says, that's enough. I'm starting to think that that's that guy's favorite phrase, that's enough. So, of course, there's this really cool ninja-style struggle, and Emily manages to get James Allen's gun. James gives up the blood sample. Emily thinks she hits the jackpot because James gave up the blood sample. Didn't she wonder why he gave it up so easily?
That's enough.
So afterwards, Emily approaches Ben and asks him to plant the blood sample somewhere in the lab so that they would conveniently find. Well, Ben's being promoted as detective and he doesn't want to put his job on the line. And he also thinks that Schaefer's too dumb to have been the one to have let James into the lab to be able to steal Jack's blood sample in the first place. I think nobody feels very highly of this Schaefer guy. He tries to come off as all big and bad and stuff, but apparently everybody thinks he's really stupid. On a somber note, Emily understands that Ben's trying to get promoted to be a detective and everything, but she does remind him that, you know, Carl's on the line, and that's makes all the difference in the world. Ben kind of thinks about this as a sobering thought, and he agrees to help Emily in any way he can. So Stevie brings up Jack's found blood sample in court, and Judge Knowles and George Easton immediately throw it out. Easton said it was tampered with, and Judge Knowles agrees with that. Stevie's held in contempt because she starts
The
flipping.
sample has been open to contamination. The lab assured me that it was merely misplaced, and the protective seal is unbroken.
Possibly confirm that,
I
Your
agree
Honor.
with Mr. Easton. My decision stands. Are we clear? No, Your Honor. Precedent has been set in both the State v. Robinson and v. Mendez. All due respect. Why should the State's error prejudice my client? That is it. I am holding you in contempt of court. Bailiff, you please escort Miss Grayson to holding. It'll be okay, Jack.
A little bit of a side note, it was David who bailed Stevie out of jail from being in contempt. And the reason why he did that is because Stevie tried to help him when he was in prison for 10 years. He was in prison for a decade. He was in prison for 10 years. He was a changed man. She tried to help him with that. And even though she didn't succeed, he understood, and we got to see what that connection was in between them. I'm absolutely loving the fans that want Stevie and David to get together and have some kind of relationship. Hey, you know, they have this really cool connection because both of them had no access to their children for all of their children's childhood. But, look, Stevie and David get together, that would mean that Jack and Emily are step-siblings. And as much as I don't see the connection between Emily and Jack, how because they were playmates 20 years ago has no bearing at all whatsoever as whether or not they're compatible now, that's not the way they're going to write it, because fans have been pushing this relationship for a long time. So unfortunately, there's not going to be a Stevie and David relationship. That can't happen. That would just be too redneckish. That would be a really fun one to explain to Carl. Oh yeah, your stepmom is also your aunt, who's also your godmother. So Nolan went through all of Schaefer's records and figured out that the police officer is absolutely clean as a whistle. The only thing that's dirty is his browser history. So Jack says, hey, great, let's show this video of James Allen spiking my drink and take it to Judge Knowles and see if we can get the case thrown out. And Stevie says, Judge Knowles is dirty. Why do you think I was held in contempt for the very first time ever in life? Ding, 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 ding. Hello, you're a winner. So the team comes up with a plan. Nolan brings a special delivery of wine over to Judge Knowles, who refuses it and continues to drink water for the rest of the night. But she doesn't know something's a little up about that water she's drinking. So Ben pulls over the judge and pretty much reenacts the exact same thing that happened to Jack, with the judge breath testing her coming up dirty, and she's like, hold on a bit, I only drank water.
Evening, Judge.
Evening.
We got a call from a concerned citizen that you're weaving as you're pulling out from the beach club. Get anything to drink tonight?
Not at all.
Yeah, well, just to be safe, I'm still gonna need you to take a breathalyzer test.
Well, I'd be happy to. Even though it's unwarranted, it could be considered an abuse of power. Officer, Hunter.
Just take a deep breath. I'll measure you blow into the machine. .15. Seems pretty warranted to me.
That's impossible.
Courthouse, huh? You better get that.
And the judge is like, yeah, you're real cute. Okay, I didn't even drink the wine. And then she gets a phone call from Emily that pretty much blackmails her, says, hey, you know, there was acetone in your water. That's why you're coming up as being dirty on the breathalyzer. And we'll let everybody know that you're taking deals from Le Marchand Media. So, Stevie announces Jack's charges were dropped, and there was much rejoicing. Yay! So Stevie offers to take everybody out for a celebratory dinner, and Emily declines. David is absolutely livid. So Emily wants to get back at Margot and even the score, and once again, David is pleading with her to be an Amanda instead of an Emily. Now let's rewind one more time and talk about Louise. At the beginning of the episode, Louise was carrying on her lie about her brother Lyman, still saying, oh, he's drunk in the back room, you know? Not mentioning at all that the guy fell off a cliff the night before. So when Ben does question Louise as part of his investigation, she starts with the same story that she gave Nolan. That she came home and Lyman was drinking, and then she caught him in the middle of the night drinking some more, and that was the last that she'd saw of him. So basically they just assumed that he was so drunk he just walked himself off the cliff. Lyman. I mean, after all, yeah, who does that? We all know the story of why Louise is married to Nolan and how it relates back to Lyman. Well, Louise said that they started getting along. Nolan interrupts him and says, hey, you know, the girl's genuine. If there's anyone who had a reason to hate Lyman Ellis, it's Nolan. So Louise eventually does tell Nolan what happened the night that Lyman fell, and for just a moment Nolan thinks that Louise may have pushed Lyman, but then she steps in and says, nah, she let him fall.
In here snooping through your black laptop.
Okay, there's a lot of sensitive material in there. What did he see?
Doesn't much matter now. Who's he gonna tell? Things got heated. I didn't push him, but I didn't help him. I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you from the start. You are the only person in my life that doesn't keep secrets from me, and I owe you the same. I hope you don't hate me.
I could never hate you.
Can I clear something up here? When Lyman fell, Louise did not have the flash drive. The reason why Lyman fell is because he pulled the flash drive straight up out of her hand, lost his balance, and fell off the cliff. That's the reason why he fell, because he has the flash drive. Lyman fell with the flash drive. Louise does not have the flash drive. We realized too that when Louise is talking to Nolan, she never actually mentions the flash drive, so where is it? Well, if Ben was down there, if he found it, well, then maybe Louise could have gotten it back when he returned the personal effects, but he never logged it as being one of Lyman's personal effects. So let's rewind to Victoria and her mission throughout this episode, which was about the Daniel Grayson wing. She initially goes to Margot and tells Margot all about how they're launching it, but they needed to pass the vote over the hospital, and Margot is on the board. Victoria doesn't notice Margot's eyes kind of shifting a little bit when she mentions that Margot should announce her pregnancy when the wing opens. So Margot apparently doesn't want to announce the pregnancy because of it casting a shadow over her child's life and being associated with the Daniel Grayson wing. So Emily comes home and finds that somebody had broken into her house. Instead of checking to see who it was, she has Nolan check the alarms, make sure everything is secure. She turns around, there's Victoria, accusing her of being the one to have voted down the wing. And Emily informs her, no, sweetheart. I did actually vote for the wing. I actually did want to see something come out of it because Daniel saved my life. And Victoria felt kind of a little bit jerky, didn't quite believe her. But Emily also asked her to call off Margot. Victoria called her a pacifist, which I thought was really funny, because if you call Emily a pacifist, I mean, come on. Does she know her? So Victoria goes and does what every depressed woman does who has a little bit of cash. She goes shopping and buys Margot's layettes. She brings it to her, and then she finds out the truth. Margot is the one who was the mystery nay voter. She voted down the wing because she didn't want anyone to know about the pregnancy yet because of Daniel's name. Victoria cut a deal with her. Margot will change her vote so long as nobody has to know about the pregnancy
when
James actually came back and told Margot that he had to find a new place to stay because Emily basically raided his apartment looking for how Jack's drink was spiced, he informed Margot that there was no way that he was going to drop the vendetta. Margot actually wants to drop the vendetta at this point because Lyman Ellis died because of something that she asked him to do. James was really pressuring her. This is like the fourth time that Margot wanted to quit the vendetta. And James is saying, look, you got to keep going because of the Le Marchal name. You know, you got to clear this thing up with Daniel. She's upset, but she still doesn't want to carry it out.
I'll clear any record of the call.
That will be your final task for our services.
You're giving up?
Amanda's dead because of me. This is not who I am. Thank you for your loyalty.
I am loyal to the Le Marchal name, which will lose all credibility if the heir to its throne is believed to be the child of a monster. Your baby, Pascal's grandchild, deserves better. That's why you started this, remember? I think it's time we took that step to end this before she does.
So Emily corners Margot and informs her that the charges were dropped. And Margot seems like she's happy about this. Emily's like, yeah, you're genuine. And Margot's like, no, seriously, I really didn't want to drag Jack and Carl into it, and I really didn't want Jack to lose Carl, so I'm actually happy that things worked out. She's not really a bad woman, after all. She was just blinded by rage, as Emily wants to call it a truce. She actually hands Margot her real birth certificate, the one that says that she's Amanda Clark, that's not a forgery, and she says, I want you to take this as a peace offering. We want to end the revenge cycle. You know, revenge is a vendetta that has an action, and then a casualty, and then an action for the casualty that causes a casualty, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. We want to end the cycle now. So, here, take this. That may have ended things for Margot right there, but it wasn't enough. That's not what she was looking for from Emily. She wanted something to redeem Daniel's name. That would have stopped everything. And that's all she wanted. And the birth certificate was pitiful. There's no way that she was just going to take that. And she was so angry that she was literally blinded by rage, like she said, wasn't watching where she was going, seething to continue the vendetta, and she walked right into an oncoming cab that was pulling up onto the curb.
The only way
and
to is by
flew up in the air. Well, you saw it.
Otherwise, this gesture means nothing.
It means that you can trust me when I say that telling the truth is impossible without putting more lives at risk. Please, Margot, there are other ways.
No, Emily. There's only one way, and it's not yours.
Now, when Emily returned Margot's purse, you know, Victoria was rightfully upset and waiting there. She took the purse, and Emily very slickly and very smartly took the birth certificate back out of Margot's purse, because obviously this isn't over. Many people have asked me why Victoria said that she was Margot's mother when the doctor questioned who she was. And also, why was Victoria even there in the first place? You have to understand something. Margot doesn't have any other family in the country. Her father's dead, her brother's in jail, her boyfriend's dead. The only person that's really left for her is Victoria. So she put Victoria down as her emergency contact. Obviously, if something happened to Margot, Victoria would have been notified immediately. Of course, she would have been at the hospital right away. And as for her saying that she is her mother, saying that directly to the doctor, typically people do that all the time just because they want information about a patient. They'll say, oh, well, she's my daughter, she's my sister. and it's not necessarily true, but people do that all the time so they could try to get some information out of doctors that family only is supposed to know that information. Has to do with the law in this country. You know, typically people do that kind of thing all the time. It's really not a big deal. Let's not make a big deal out of it. So, Victoria visits Margot in her room, and Margot breaks it to her that she did lose the baby. Margot was only 9 weeks pregnant, you guys. People kept asking me over and over again, why was she not showing so much? Look, if you actually did the math from when she actually told Daniel that she was pregnant up until this point, then you would realize that she was only 9 weeks pregnant. Additionally to that, some people have also speculated towards me that maybe Margot wasn't pregnant in the first place. Hold up. She was saying that she was pregnant before Daniel even died. The whole point of her vendetta was because of the, what was said about why Daniel died. So how does that make sense that she wouldn't be pregnant in the first place? For what reason would she be trying to do that? Especially since she wasn't trying to hold Daniel by saying that she was pregnant. She was actually pushing him away, saying he was going to be a bad dad. That does not make sense at all. And of course we saw the ultrasound, and there were only 3 people in the room, Victoria, Margot, and the nurse. So if the ultrasound wasn't real, who were they trying to fake out? Us? You know, that doesn't really make any sense. We do not exist in their world. So meanwhile, while Margot is lamenting over the last little bit of Daniel dying, Emily is also feeling it, and she collapses in her father's arms, and just for a brief moment we actually see that little girl Amanda come back, just for a little while. We see that rival dissolve, and we see the Amanda inside of her, and we know that it exists in there somewhere, just in that moment.
Dad?
Amanda, I got your message. What's wrong?
I tried to end it like you said.
It's too late. It's too late.
Okay. I got you.
Okay, and this is the part that made everybody angry. Let me explain it to you, okay? Okay, so Victoria asked Margot what happened. Margot said Emily pushed her. Let me explain why Margot said that. Margot's defeated. She's done. Kaput. You can stick a fork in her. She's done. Okay? And the reason why is because she's not as resilient as Emily and Victoria are. After one revenge casualty, she can't handle it anymore. So, she's still angry about everything, and rightfully so. So she wants to pass the torch on to Victoria for the time being, because she's that upset still. This is something that she might regret later, but for the time being, this is how she feels. So, she knows she can't go on any longer. She's handing the reins over to Victoria, and that's why she said that. To make Victoria mad, to set her off, to get her going after Emily as hard as she was trying to go after her. And we'll see what happens.
And I can't help you if you won't let me in. Because whatever led to this loss, our loss, requires an explanation. Tell me. Whatever the truth, I will accept it. Emily cornered me on the street. She said she wanted peace. She gave me her word. But then she pushed me.
So, in the middle of all this tragedy, we find out that the social worker Tony Hughes has a hots for our local Lola and Ross. So Nolan tells Louise that he's only going to be gone for a little while, but we know he's not. He ends up meeting Tony and decides to take him out to dinner. Now, we start to wonder what Tony's actual motives are, but considering the fact that he noticed Nolan's wedding ring and started freaking out, we would maybe think that maybe he doesn't have an ulterior motive. I thought maybe he could possibly be a James Allen operative, you know, taking the place of the whole Lyman Ellis scheme, but probably not. I guess we'll find out what's going on next time. Okay, and that's all we have time for. Our second ever Revenge Fans recap for Revenge Fans Facebook group. Please visit us online at www.facebook.com/group/RevengeFansABC. This was episode 17, Loss. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. And if you're interested in purchasing a Revenge Fans t-shirt, please check the links below for Etsy and eBay. Hope to see you next time. Bye now.